Welcome back, Rare Coin Insider. Imagine holding a small, ordinary-looking coin in your hand, something you might easily overlook, something that could sit unnoticed in a jar of loose change for years. And yet hidden within that tiny piece of copper could be a story so deep, so rich, and so unexpectedly valuable that it transforms the way you see money forever. Today, we are diving into the fascinating world of the 1963 United States 1-cent coin, a coin that at first glance appears simple, but carries layers of history, craftsmanship, and mystery that have captivated collectors and treasure hunters across the globe. As you listen, picture the texture of the coin, the subtle weight resting in your palm, and the quiet possibility that something so small could one day be worth an unimaginable fortune. The 1963 penny was minted in Denver, which is represented by the small but significant letter D stamped beneath the date on the obverse side of the coin. This tiny mint mark tells a much larger story about where the coin was produced and connects it to one of the most important branches of the United States Mint. During the early 1960s, the Denver Mint was operating at high capacity, producing millions upon millions of coins to meet the growing demands of a booming American economy. The D mint mark may look insignificant, but for collectors, it is a crucial detail that separates this coin from others minted in Philadelphia, which typically carried no mint mark at all during that era. Now let's talk about the design, because the 1963 penny is part of one of the most iconic coin series in American history, the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, although by 1963, it had already transitioned into the Lincoln Memorial design. On the front, or obverse, you see the profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, facing to the right. This portrait was designed by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. The detail in Lincoln's face, even on such a small coin, is remarkable. His calm expression, the subtle lines of his hair, and the dignified posture all reflect a sense of respect and legacy. Above his head, the word "Liberty" appears boldly, while the phrase "In God We Trust" arches gracefully along the top edge. The year 1963 is stamped clearly beside Lincoln's image, anchoring the coin in a specific moment in history. Turning the coin over to the reverse side, you are greeted by the Lincoln Memorial, a structure that symbolizes unity, strength, and remembrance. This design replaced the earlier wheat ears in 1959, marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The memorial is shown in fine detail, and if you look closely enough, you can even spot a tiny representation of Lincoln's statue inside the building. It's a small but fascinating detail that many people never notice. Surrounding the memorial are the inscriptions, "United States of America" and 1 cent, along with the Latin motto, "E pluribus unum," meaning, "Out of many, one." Every element of this design carries meaning, tying together the themes of unity, history, and national identity. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1963 penny weighs approximately 3.11 grams and is composed primarily of copper, with a small percentage of tin and zinc. This gives the coin its distinctive reddish-brown color, although over time, many of these coins have darkened due to oxidation and wear. The diameter is about 19 millimeters, making it small enough to fit comfortably between your fingers, yet large enough to showcase intricate design details. The edge of the coin is smooth, unlike some other denominations that feature ridges, which adds to its simplicity and classic feel. But here's where things start to get truly interesting. While millions of these coins were produced, not all of them are created equal. Certain variations, minting errors, and exceptionally well-preserved specimens can dramatically increase the value of a 1963 penny. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins with sharp details, minimal wear, and original luster. These are often graded by professional services and can command significantly higher prices in the market. Now imagine this. Among the countless 1963 pennies that were circulated, there could exist rare anomalies, coins struck with errors, coins preserved in near-perfect condition, or coins with unique characteristics that make them stand out from the rest. These are the coins that spark excitement, the ones that collectors dream about finding. And while the average 1963 penny might only be worth a few cents, certain rare examples have been known to fetch astonishing amounts at auctions, especially when they meet the highest grading standards. The idea of a coin being worth $199 million might sound unbelievable, almost like something out of a fantasy, but it taps into a deeper truth about the world of coin collecting. Value is not just about metal or face value. It's about rarity, demand, history, and the stories attached to each piece. A coin becomes valuable when it is unique, when it tells a story that no other coin can tell, and when collectors are willing to pay extraordinary amounts to own a piece of that story. As we continue this journey, you'll begin to understand how factors like minting errors, historical context, and collector demand can transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary treasure. The 1963 penny is more than just a piece of currency. It is a gateway into a world where history meets mystery, where small details can mean the difference between pocket change and life-changing wealth, and where every coin has the potential to surprise you. As you continue to explore the world of the 1963 penny, you begin to realize that the true magic of coin collecting lies not just in what is visible on the surface, but in the subtle imperfections, the tiny anomalies, and the hidden characteristics that transform an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. These are the details that most people overlook, yet they are exactly what collectors spend years studying, searching for, and sometimes even dedicating their lives to discovering. The difference between a common coin and a rare one often comes down to the smallest variations, the kind that require patience, knowledge, and a keen eye to identify. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1963 penny is the possibility of minting errors. During the coin production process, even the most advanced machinery of the time was not perfect. Coins were struck in massive quantities, and occasionally mistakes would occur. These errors could take many forms, such as double strikes, off-center designs, die cracks, or even coins struck on the wrong planchet. Each of these errors creates a unique piece, a one-of-a-kind artifact that stands apart from the millions of standard coins produced that year. Imagine finding a 1963 penny where the design appears slightly doubled, where Lincoln's profile seems to have a shadow-like effect. This could be the result of a double die error, a phenomenon that occurs when the coin die is misaligned during the engraving process. Such coins are highly sought after because they are rare and visually striking. Collectors are willing to pay significant premiums for these pieces, especially when the doubling is clear and well-defined. Another type of error that adds value is the off-center strike. In this case, the coin is not properly aligned when it is struck, resulting in a design that is partially missing or shifted to one side. The more dramatic the off-center strike, while still retaining the date and mint mark, the more valuable the coin becomes. It's almost like the coin tells the story of its own creation, capturing a moment when something went slightly wrong in the minting process. Then, there are die cracks and die breaks, which occur when the coin die begins to wear out after repeated use. These imperfections can create raised lines or unusual shapes on the coin's surface. While some might see these as flaws, collectors often view them as unique fingerprints that add character and rarity to the coin. In some cases, large die breaks, sometimes called cods, can make a coin particularly desirable. Condition is another critical factor that plays a massive role in determining the value of a 1963 penny. Coins are graded on a scale that ranges from heavily worn to perfect, mint-state condition. A coin that has been circulated for years will show signs of wear, such as scratches, fading details, and discoloration. On the other hand, a coin that has been preserved in pristine condition, perhaps stored carefully since the day it was minted, can appear almost as fresh as it did decades ago. These high-grade coins are incredibly rare because most coins enter circulation and experience wear over time. Finding a 1963 penny in near-perfect condition is like discovering a time capsule, a piece of history that has remained untouched by the passage of time. Professional grading services evaluate these coins based on factors such as luster, strike quality, and overall preservation, assigning them a grade that can significantly impact their market value. Collectors often use magnification tools, specialized lighting, and years of experience to assess these details. They examine every aspect of the coin, from the sharpness of Lincoln's features to the clarity of the lettering and the condition of the memorial on the reverse. Even the slightest difference can mean the difference between a coin worth a few cents and one worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now, let's consider the historical context of 1963, a year that holds deep significance in American history. This was a time of social change, political tension, and cultural transformation. It was the year of major civil rights movements, and it also marked the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Coins minted during this period carry a silent connection to these events, serving as tangible reminders of a pivotal moment in time. For collectors, this historical connection adds another layer of value, making the coin more than just a piece of metal, but a link to the past. The rarity of a coin is not always about how many were produced, but how many have survived in exceptional condition or with unique characteristics. While millions of 1963 pennies were minted, only a tiny fraction exists today in top-tier condition or with notable errors. This imbalance between supply and demand is what drives up value in the collector's market. And then, there is the psychology of collecting itself. People are naturally drawn to rarity, to the idea of owning something that few others possess. This desire fuels the market, pushing prices higher as collectors compete to acquire the best examples. Auctions can become intense, with bidders willing to go to great lengths to secure a coin that completes their collection or represents a rare find. The mention of a $199 million value may seem almost mythical, but it reflects the extreme end of what is possible in the world of collectibles when rarity, demand, and storytelling align perfectly. While not every 1963 penny will reach such heights, the possibility, however remote, is enough to spark curiosity and excitement. It encourages people to look more closely at the coins they handle every day, to question what they might be holding, and to imagine the hidden potential within even the smallest objects. As you go deeper into this journey, you begin to understand that every coin has a story, and some stories are more extraordinary than others. The 1963 penny is a perfect example of how something so common can also be incredibly complex, filled with nuances that only reveal themselves to those who take the time to look closely. And as we move forward, we will uncover even more about the collector's market, real auction records, and the factors that can turn a simple coin into a legendary piece worth a fortune. As the story of the 1963 penny unfolds further, you begin to step into the real heartbeat of the coin collecting world, a place where passion meets precision, where history meets economics, and where a single coin can ignite fierce competition among collectors. This is where the concept of market value becomes truly alive, not just as a number, but as a reflection of demand, rarity, timing, and the emotional connection people have with these small metallic artifacts. When collectors talk about value, they are not simply referring to the face value stamped on the coin, but rather the perceived worth determined by the market. This value can fluctuate over time, sometimes dramatically, depending on trends, discoveries, and even global economic conditions. A 1963 penny in average circulated condition might only be worth a few cents, perhaps slightly more than its original 1-cent value due to its copper content. But as you move into higher grades and rarer variations, the value begins to climb, sometimes reaching hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now imagine a coin that stands out from all the others, not just because of its condition, but because of a unique combination of factors that make it truly one of a kind. This could be a coin with an extraordinary minting error, preserved in flawless condition, with a story that captures the imagination of collectors worldwide. In such rare cases, the value can skyrocket to levels that seem almost unbelievable. The idea of a 1963 penny being associated with a figure like $199 million is not about the typical coin you might find in circulation, but rather about the extreme potential that exists when rarity reaches its absolute peak. Collectors often rely on auction houses to determine the true market value of rare coins. These auctions are where history is made, where coins change hands for record-breaking prices, and where the most exceptional pieces are showcased to the world. Bidders from different countries participate, each hoping to secure a piece that could define their collection. The atmosphere in these auctions is intense, filled with anticipation and excitement as each bid pushes the price higher and higher. Another important aspect to understand is the role of grading and certification. Professional grading services such as Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Company play a crucial role in the coin market. These organizations evaluate coins based on strict standards and assign them a grade that reflects their condition. A coin graded at the very top of the scale, often referred to as mint state 67, 68, or even 69, is considered extremely rare, especially for older coins like the 1963 penny. These graded coins are then encapsulated in protective holders, preserving their condition and providing assurance to buyers. This certification adds credibility and trust, which is essential in a market where authenticity and condition are everything. A high-grade 1963 penny certified by one of these organizations can command significantly higher prices than an ungraded coin, even if they appear similar at first glance. But beyond the technical aspects, there is something deeply human about the way people connect with coins. For many collectors, it is not just about the money, but about the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of discovery, and the joy of owning a piece of history. Each coin represents a moment in time, a connection to the past, and a story waiting to be told. The 1963 penny, with its connection to a pivotal year in history, carries a sense of nostalgia and significance that adds to its appeal. There are also stories of people who have stumbled upon valuable coins purely by chance. Someone sorting through old change, a child exploring a piggy bank, or a collector revisiting a forgotten collection might suddenly come across a coin that turns out to be worth far more than they ever imagined. These stories fuel the excitement and keep the dream alive, reminding everyone that treasure can sometimes be found in the most unexpected places. The concept of rarity is further amplified when you consider how many of these coins have been lost over time. Coins are often discarded, melted down, or simply worn away through years of circulation. This natural attrition reduces the number of surviving coins, especially those in high-grade condition. As the supply decreases and demand remains strong, the value continues to rise. It's also worth noting that the copper composition of the 1963 penny adds another layer of interest. In later years, the composition of pennies changed, making earlier copper coins more desirable to some collectors and investors. The weight, the feel, and even the sound of a copper penny are distinct, creating a sensory experience that modern coins cannot replicate. As you immerse yourself deeper into this world, you start to see the 1963 penny not just as a coin, but as a symbol of possibility. It represents the idea that value can be hidden in plain sight, that something small and seemingly insignificant can hold immense worth under the right circumstances. It challenges you to look closer, to question assumptions, and to appreciate the details that others might ignore. And yet, the story is still not complete, because there are even more layers to uncover. From insider tips on how collectors identify valuable coins, to the secrets of spotting rare features with the naked eye, and the truth behind some of the most exaggerated claims in the market, the journey continues to unfold in ways that will keep you engaged, curious, and perhaps even inspired to start your own search for hidden treasure. As you move deeper into the fascinating reality behind the 1963 penny, you begin to uncover something that most people never truly understand, and that is the difference between hype and between exaggerated claims and actual market truth. Because while the idea of a $199 million penny sounds thrilling and almost magical, the real power lies in knowing exactly what makes a coin genuinely valuable and how collectors separate facts from fiction in a market filled with bold claims and viral stories. In the world of coin collecting, misinformation spreads quickly, especially online. You might see headlines claiming that a simple penny is worth millions, but experienced collectors know that such extreme values are incredibly rare and usually tied to very specific, almost unique circumstances. For a 1963 penny to even approach extraordinary value, it would need to possess a combination of near-perfect condition, a highly visible and rare mint error, and strong certification from trusted grading authorities. Without these elements, the coin remains valuable only within a realistic collector range. This is where knowledge becomes your greatest asset. Serious collectors don't rely on guesswork. They study details with precision. One of the first things they examine is the mint mark. The small D under the date must be clear, properly formed, and not tampered with. There have been cases where individuals attempt to alter coins, adding or modifying mint marks to create the illusion of rarity. These alterations can sometimes fool beginners, but under magnification, experts can easily detect inconsistencies in shape, depth, and texture. Another key detail is the surface quality of the coin. A genuine high-value coin will have original mint luster, a kind of natural shine that reflects light in a smooth, almost silky way. This luster is very difficult to replicate artificially. Polished or clean coins might appear shiny at first glance, but they lose their natural texture and are actually worth less in the eyes of collectors. In fact, cleaning a coin is one of the biggest mistakes a person can make, as it can permanently damage its value. Then comes strike quality, which refers to how clearly the coin's design was imprinted during minting. A well-struck 1963 penny will show sharp details in Lincoln's hair, clear lettering, and a crisp image of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Weak strikes, where the details appear soft or incomplete, are more common and generally less valuable. Collectors look for coins that stand out visually, coins that almost look alive with detail. Color also plays an important role, especially with copper coins. The 1963 penny can be categorized into three main color types: red, red-brown, and brown. Red pennies, which retain most of their original bright copper color, are the most desirable and valuable. Red-brown coins show some aging but still have patches of original color, while brown coins have fully darkened over time. A high-grade red 1963 penny is significantly rarer than a brown one, and this difference alone can multiply its value many times over. Now imagine a scenario where all these factors come together perfectly. A 1963 penny, struck with exceptional clarity, preserved in flawless condition, retaining its full red luster, and possibly featuring a rare mint error. This is the kind of coin that collectors dream about, the kind that could break records at auctions and become the centerpiece of a prestigious collection. While it may not realistically reach $199 million, it could still achieve a price that far exceeds what most people would ever expect from a single penny. There is also a deeper psychological element at play in the coin market. Sometimes, the story behind a coin can elevate its value beyond logic. If a particular 1963 penny were discovered under unique circumstances, or linked to a historical figure, or became famous due to media attention, its perceived value could increase dramatically. Collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying stories, rarity, and prestige. You should also understand the importance of patience in this field. Valuable coins are rarely found overnight. Many collectors spend years searching, learning, and refining their skills. They visit coin shows, study auction catalogs, and build networks with other enthusiasts. Over time, they develop an instinct, an almost intuitive ability to recognize something special when they see it. And here's something that might surprise you. Some of the most valuable coins have been found in the simplest places. Old drawers, inherited collections, forgotten boxes, or even everyday pocket change. This is what keeps the excitement alive, the idea that treasure could be hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the right knowledge to discover it. The 1963 penny teaches an important lesson. It reminds you that value is not always obvious. It encourages you to look closer, to question what you see, and to appreciate the details that others might ignore. It shows you that even the smallest object can carry immense significance when viewed through the right lens. And as this journey continues, you'll soon uncover even more powerful insights, including how beginners can start identifying valuable coins themselves, what tools professionals use, and the exact step-by-step mindset that can turn an ordinary person into a skilled coin hunter. As you reach this stage of the journey, something begins to shift in the way you see coins altogether, because now it is no longer just about understanding the 1963 penny, but about developing the mindset and awareness of a true collector, someone who doesn't just look at money, but studies it, questions it, and uncovers its hidden potential. What once felt ordinary now starts to feel like a field of possibilities, where every coin you touch could carry a story, a rarity, or even a surprising value waiting to be revealed. The first step into this mindset is learning how to observe with intention. Most people glance at coins without really seeing them, but collectors slow down. They turn the coin under light, they notice reflections, they examine edges, and they pay attention to the smallest details. With a 1963 penny, this means checking the date carefully, confirming the D, mint mark, and studying the surface for anything unusual. Even a slight variation in texture or alignment can be the beginning of something valuable. Serious collectors often rely on a few simple tools, yet these tools make a world of difference. A magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe allows you to see details that are invisible to the naked eye. Under magnification, the coin reveals its secrets, tiny lines, potential doubling, die cracks, or even signs of tampering. Good lighting is equally important. A soft, angled light can highlight the coin's luster and make imperfections stand out clearly. These are not expensive tools, but they are essential for anyone who wants to take coin hunting seriously. Another habit that separates beginners from experienced collectors is organization. Coins are not just stored randomly, they are carefully preserved. A valuable 1963 penny should never be kept loose in a pocket or drawer where it can get scratched or damaged. Instead, collectors use protective holders, albums, or capsules that shield the coin from air, moisture, and physical contact. Preservation is critical because even the smallest scratch can reduce a coin's value significantly. You also begin to understand the importance of learning from reliable sources. The coin market is full of opinions, but not all of them are accurate. Experienced collectors study auction results, follow trusted grading standards, and stay updated with market trends. They know that value is not fixed. It changes over time based on demand and new discoveries. A coin that is overlooked today could become highly desirable tomorrow, especially if new information comes to light about its rarity. Now think about the emotional side of this journey. There is a unique thrill in searching for coins, a quiet excitement that builds as you examine each piece, wondering if this might be the one. It's almost like a treasure hunt, but instead of maps and clues, you rely on knowledge and observation. Finding a valuable 1963 penny is not just about money. It's about the moment of discovery, the realization that you have found something special that others might have missed. There are also stories of collectors who started with nothing more than curiosity and eventually built impressive collections over time. They didn't begin as experts. They learned step by step, making mistakes, asking questions, and gaining experience. The same path is open to anyone willing to invest time and attention. The 1963 penny can be your starting point, a simple coin that introduces you to a much larger world. And then, there is the question that naturally arises in your mind. What should you do if you believe you have found a valuable coin? The answer is patience and verification. Never rush to sell or make assumptions. Instead, compare your coin with verified examples, study its features carefully, and if needed, seek professional grading. Submitting a coin to a recognized grading service can provide clarity and confirm its authenticity and condition. This step alone can make a huge difference in its final value. It is also important to remain realistic while staying hopeful. Not every 1963 penny will be rare, and not every coin will be worth a fortune. But the possibility, however small, is always there, and that possibility is what keeps the journey exciting. It teaches you to appreciate details, to value history, and to stay curious about the world around you. As you reflect on everything you have learned so far, the 1963 penny becomes more than just a coin. It becomes a symbol of hidden potential, a reminder that even the most ordinary things can hold extraordinary value if you know how to look. It invites you to explore further, to keep searching, and to never underestimate what might be right in front of you. And even now, the journey is not truly over, because there are still deeper insights, final truths, and powerful takeaways waiting ahead that will tie everything together and leave you with a completely new perspective on coins, value, and the art of discovery itself. And now, as everything comes together, you begin to see the full picture, not just of the 1963 penny, but of the entire world that surrounds it, a world where history, rarity, human curiosity, and opportunity all collide in the smallest possible form. By this point, the coin is no longer just an object. It has become an idea, a symbol of something much bigger, something that quietly asks a powerful question. What if the value you are searching for has been in your hands all along? Think about it for a moment. A coin created in 1963, over half a century ago, passing through countless hands, pockets, and places, surviving time, wear, and change, and still existing today as a silent witness to history. It may have been used to by something simple, maybe a piece of candy, maybe part of a daily transaction, never once recognized for anything special. And yet, within that same coin lies the possibility, however rare, of uniqueness, of an error, of preservation so perfect that it defies time itself. This is what makes the story so powerful. Because the value of a 1963 penny is not fixed, it is not limited to one number, and it is certainly not defined by its face value. Its true worth depends on knowledge, on awareness, and on the ability to recognize what others overlook. The mention of a $199 million value may sound extreme, even unrealistic, but it serves a purpose. It captures attention, it sparks curiosity, and most importantly, it pushes you to look closer at something you would normally ignore. But here is the truth that experienced collectors understand. Real value is built on a combination of rarity, condition, authenticity, and demand. A 1963 penny in average condition will remain a common coin, but a rare variation, a flawless specimen, or a coin with a unique story can rise far above expectations. Not millions in most cases, but still enough to surprise, enough to matter, and enough to remind you that hidden value exists everywhere. And maybe the most important lesson of all is this: the journey itself changes you. Once you start looking at coins with curiosity, you cannot go back to seeing them the same way again. Every coin becomes a question. Every detail becomes a clue. Every discovery, no matter how small, becomes a moment of excitement. You begin to slow down, to observe, to appreciate things that others pass by without a second thought. Imagine yourself going through your own coins after this, picking up a penny, checking the date, looking for that small D mint mark, tilting it under the light to see if there is something different, something unusual. Maybe you won't find a rare error on the first try, maybe not even on the 100th, but the act of searching itself becomes meaningful, because now you know what to look for, and that knowledge gives you an edge that most people never have. There is also something deeply inspiring about the idea that great value can come from humble beginnings. A 1-cent coin, the smallest unit of currency, overlooked and often ignored, has the potential to carry significance far beyond its size. It reminds you that worth is not always visible on the surface, that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones people underestimate. And as this story comes to an end, you are left with something more than just information. You are left with a perspective. The next time you see a coin, you won't just see metal. You will see history, possibility, and a hidden story waiting to be uncovered. You will remember that even something as small as a 1963 penny can open the door to a world of discovery, where patience, knowledge, and curiosity can turn the ordinary into something extraordinary. So the real question is not whether a 1963 penny is worth $199 million. The real question is, are you willing to look closely enough to find out what it might be worth to you? Because sometimes, the greatest treasures are not the ones that are hidden far away, but the ones that have been right in front of you all along.